Coming to you from the sunny Paramount Studio lots in Hollywood, California, this is Jonathan Shapiro, one of the writers of episode 517, Anna-Gracia Duerte, initials AGD. Shout out to the sisters of Alpha Gamma Delta. And you're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
The social commentary season continues as we discuss child brides this week. Welcome to the award-winning Blacklist Exposed podcast. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
And I am Agent Aaron Peterson, back in Blacklist. And I want everybody to know that my wife is older than me. So I'm cool. Thanks for joining us once again as we discuss number 25 on the Blacklist, Anna-Gracia Duerte, written by Jonathan Shapiro and Lucas Ryder and directed by Michael Carciolo. Did I get it right?
Close enough.
Okay. Whew. Show notes and other intel for this episode of the Blacklist Exposed can be found where? At theblacklistexposed.com.
I was more worried you're going to get the Blacklist wrong this week.
What do you mean?
Just because it was so hard to pronounce.
Oh, my wife is Spanish.
Yeah,
so
I figured you asked her to help you out. Hey, honey.
Nope, I don't need to. I've been to so many barbecues, I kind of picked some of it up.
So if she's older with you, does that mean that you got married at 15 then?
No, yes. Yeah, well, I definitely don't want to say her age. I know the rules, but she's definitely older than me. Yep.
All right.
Not by much, but enough to where she couldn't be considered a child bride.
Okay.
Because that is creepy. We're going to talk about that later. I don't even know what we're going to say, but we're going to talk about it.
We'll get into it for sure.
Before we go on, I do want to say it real quick. Thanks to Rory for filling in for me for the last couple of weeks. Really, really appreciate it, man. You did a great job. I know audience loved you too, so very appreciated. I hope you know that you did fantastic. Probably better than me. So honestly, I can just bow out right now. We'll bring Rory back if you want.
Well, if Aaron listened to it, then you know at least it was halfway decent.
Yeah, that's true, because I would turn it off if I didn't like it. True enough. And be like, he'd ask me, what'd you think of the show this week? Oh, yeah, it was good. The first 3 minutes were great.
Good to have you back, buddy. Well, last week, Roy left you a gift. He asked everybody, what will Liz do when she finds out that Red was behind kidnapping the witness? And we got a few answers.
Can I get a witness? Wendy Davies. I think a nutcracker will be involved somewhere. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum. Psh.
If he has any.
I added that part, by the way.
Lauren Brittany Trute said she will team up with Jennifer to work against Red to find the truth about the bones.
Monica Stolfa, he convinces her that he can guarantee the safety of the witness because they don't know how extensive the corruption is within the law enforcement officers involved with Evil Glenn. I love that everybody calls him Evil Glenn, not Ian Garvey. True
story. I had to write Ian Garvey in the post for this episode, and when I typed it initially, I actually typed out Evil Glenn.
There you go.
Didn't even think about it. Just Evil Glenn. I'm like, wait a minute.
That's great.
No one's going to know what that means.
Go community.
Heather Dedro Pedersen said, just like a daughter would, mad at dad, runs off for a few, then goes back to dad.
I mean, that's legit. That's a real thing.
It is.
So it does happen. Rachel Town, she gonna go Katarina on him. Does that mean she wanders into the ocean? Like, instead of karate, it's the new thing. Catarate. All right. Slow clap. I don't read these until we do them, and that's funny.
T-shirts write themselves.
Catarate.
Oh my gosh. Sherry Heath said, I think she will try to rescue him herself from Red. Put him in hiding like she did Tom. Keep him safe so he can testify about Tom's murder.
Last one, Mary Beth. She is going to go rogue, do her own plan, inadvertently messing up Red's plan. Then she'll get kidnapped, rescued by Red last minute, and end up with a blanket over her while being comforted by a wrestler. Aww.
Some of that kind of happened, actually. Where she went to go find the witness, and then Red had to save her from Garvey's men.
Sure. Yeah,
close,
absolutely.
Close. We'll give Mary a point for that one this week.
Well, that's awful nice of you.
Virtual Starbucks. Here you go. All right. Well, our next profiling question, since Aaron came back so nicely, we'll let him have the floor this week.
Okay, this is what I want to know, honestly, because I watched it a couple times, couldn't tell. Did Samar's eyes say yes or no? Yes, she does want to marry Aram, or no, she doesn't? We know what Aram wants. Everything I have is right here. We got that. What did her eyes say? That's what I want to know.
And unfortunately, Aram, I think, interpreted it the wrong way.
Well, it depends on what you think her eyes said, right?
Right.
That's why I want to know what everybody thinks. I kind of want to know where, because I bet you it's going to be pretty close to split.
I think it'll be 50-50 as well. We will see. But before Aaron uses some flashing technology to hack my online activity, let's go ahead and get to this week's case profile.
I really wish I knew how to do that. That would be some cool stuff to do.
Just be robots in space, and Alias and Lost.
It could happen. Anna-Gracia Duerte. This was mostly a standalone episode. Dove into some troubling waters a couple of times. We'll get to those soon. We promise. I know the child bride thing, especially, we're gonna hold till Samar. So we'll come back to that. The crux of this episode follows Red's need for Garvey's ledger, because this show loves a good ledger. Because every criminal is too dumb for an encrypted laptop to maintain their info. Old school dum-dums. That's what we got going on.
Katarina's got a diary. You had the Jen with her ledger. And then, that's a lot of paper. Save some trees.
A lot of paper. You know, Apple has some good product. Microsoft has some good, but Dell, there's a nice Inspiron. Dell has a nice computer. There's stuff you can encrypt this stuff, man. And it's better than paper.
And they can afford it too, because they're criminals.
Right. Yeah. The notoriously rich. And Jerry, now this one I won't get right. Jewel?
I think
Jewel.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, Jerry Jewel is the man Red entrusted to retrieve this ledger. And he has murdered why his seeming daughter does her homework downstairs. But in true Murder, She Wrote fashion, it wasn't his daughter. No, as we later find out. Oh, that was his wife. Gross. Ew. 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 And it's such a Jimmy Fallon moment when that happened. Ew. As we learn through the post office investigation, this is not a typical Blacklister episode. This one, like many this season, has an agenda. Unlike a lot of the other ones from this season, this one landed with an issue I honestly didn't know was an issue. I legitimately had no idea this was going on, and we're coming back to this, so please bear with us. But frankly, it left me very woke and sickened. I don't know about you.
Definitely sickened. You hear some of this happening in a few states, but you didn't realize the numbers that they rattled off on the episode just made you go, huh? Really? And so that was a lot of my day today. Just searching for child brides and how it all plays out. And
oh, that's going to suck when you turn up missing and they have to check your search history. Enjoy.
That's why I don't want anybody to figure that out. So I used an incognito web browser today.
Hey, Tracy Heinrichs, that's Troy's wife. Can you explain why he was searching for child brides in Chicago? What? Yeah, he was really knee deep in it. I mean, he was looking at her pretty hard, too. A couple searches. You see, Reva, the wife, was arranged to Jerry, this man 3 times her age, and she wanted out. So she was given the number of an avenging angel of sorts, and this angel took care of Jerry. You know what I'm saying? Took care of him. And I have to ask, this is a legitimate question, why would an assassin hired by this girl kill the dude with Reva in the house?
That's simple, because Sinclair now works for Red, so the additional alibi package add-on is no longer part of the standard husband-killing offering.
I don't know why I ask you these questions, because really, it's legitimate. Why would you do that? Is it more that she arranged it and she didn't know when she was going to show up and she just happened to be there when it happened? Was it because he never lets her out of her sight? It just feels like that was probably one aspect that was a little loose.
Well, she does the same thing that my kid does, which is sits with those earbuds in their ears the entire time. And you're like, hello, child. So yeah, she probably was in the house already. He comes into the office. She comes around the corner because she's got the music up so loud. There's no way she could hear the person come in to kill her. Kill her. I can't even say it. Kill her husband. Sounds so wrong.
Kill her daddy-like husband. I wonder if she called him Poppy. All right. Anna-Gracia is number 25 on the Blacklist. That surprised me.
Because it's specifically regarding the ledger. So I think now we're at the point of the Blacklist is whatever's the closest to affect Liz. So because the ledger specifically is tied to Garvey, that's why this person gets a higher number. even though the Red specifically didn't know about the Blacklister itself again, but the whole concept of why he had to find her was because of Garvey, which means it goes up on the list because it's closer to affecting Liz in the long run.
Well, I mean, I still think it's whatever's important to Red that week, not Liz. Or do you think it's Liz?
Well, it important to Red in the protection of Liz concept.
I see. Yes. I gotcha. Okay. Well, her scenario is really, this one's pretty sad. She's a teenage hit woman. She's Natalie Portman in The Professional with a better backstory, honestly. Anna was assaulted by a white businessman, and to save her from shame, quote unquote shame, her family arranged for her to marry this man, which led to her daily sexual assault until finally she freed herself by taking his life herself. Now she functions as her own Vengeance Unlimited agency, basically. If you ever watched that show, it's a great show. You should watch it. But you'll never be able to find it. It was only on for one season. Doing hits on creepy guys in exchange for a favor, her own personal refer a friend program. So give us, Reva has referred a friend who obviously leads the task force to Anna-Gracia. But how this works is I'll take care of your problem. You give me a friend who needs my help, someone else that's in your same or similar predicament. And apparently she's killed 10 people, roughly 10 people.
Yeah, it was like 9 or 10. I forget the exact number.
And also leads us into a topic we never thought we'd touch in the Blacklist. So we're still going to come to that. It's going to be a little bit later on when we get to Samar, but it's a really, I mean, it was, I think they handled agenda well this time. I didn't think it was with the hammer. It felt more, maybe it's the way that Samar delivered her impassioned speech and how, marriage was an undercurrent throughout the episode. So it really felt like all of this worked. It was very, very fluid. It flowed very smooth. And it felt like instead of I was being talked to, I was just seeing a story unfold. Do you agree, or did you feel different?
No, I thought the topic was handled well. I love the reveal as it played along because I was totally bought in. Even when Reva talks to Anna-Gracia outside, right? At that point, I still thought that maybe this guy raped her or something. Like it was her dad raping the daughter kind of situation. So when it was finally revealed that these were the husbands, it was kind of like, but yeah, at the same time, it was like, wow, that was such a great reveal because I totally did not see it coming. So I loved it from that perspective. I could have done with one less kissing scene. That would have been great. One less kissing scene would have made it perfect.
I don't know, man. I'll be honest. I think that really, as uncomfortable as that was, sold how inappropriate it was. And not that you couldn't be sold anyway, but because obviously that actress was, was legal, I'm sure, but, just looked very young. But I think by showing it on TV, it really just nailed the point home of how sickening this is.
It was good when they climb into the same bed. It was like, I'm good there. I get it. I got a daughter. I got a daughter. I can't watch this. This is
I'm a fan of pushing the buttons, and that got the button pushed because I was like, oh no, they're not. No, it's not. Oh, ew. And yeah, that's where I was.
Well, see, now I don't know whether to applaud standards and practices or condemn standards and practices for having this be an 8:00 show and having that scene happen. So either broadcast TV is getting progressive and it's great that they were able to let that slide, or maybe they were like, maybe we should have backed that one off a little bit. I don't know. I'm kind of torn just because I have a daughter.
You know what? If you're letting your kids watch The Blacklist and they're not mature enough for it, well, that's a parenting problem.
It is.
That's not NBC's problem. You know what I mean? So if you're letting your daughter watch and you don't think she's prepared for it, then that's on you, Troy.
Well, at least I did.
Hey, wait. She is your daughter, right?
Yes, she is my daughter.
Okay.
Yes.
Just checking.
Yes.
I can't trust anything after this episode. Every time I see somebody with like a 12-year-old, I'm going to have to ask them, daughter, right? Okay.
I'm not her father, but she is my daughter. Yes.
You just made it sound super weird. All right. Let's go into characters, and then we'll get into the creepy elephant in the room.
You betcha. So as Reva does her homework with her earbuds in, we hear At 17, which was a great inspired choice by Janice Ian as Reva's husband, quote unquote, returns home from work before being killed by Anna. And then later on, Wrestler protects yet another husband at a car dealership
I can't do it. Let's stop. All right.
Car dealership from a backpack bomb. As it explodes, we hear Evil Ways by Black Mountain. Wrestler then chases after Anna, as wrestler likes to do. And then finally, as Dembe, Red, and Liz search through a pile of garbage looking for the ledger, we hear Time Moves Slow. Great jazz tune there from Bad Bad Not Good featuring Sam Herring. While Aram pops the ring, not the question, just the ring, over to Samar over some Thai food. And, of course, you can hear all of those great selections on the Blacklist Spotify playlist over there or also on Apple Music. Just head over to theblacklistexposed.com and look for the post for Anna-Gracia Duerte, and you'll be able to get the links there.
Hey, look at you. You can be part Spanish. Good job. Let's go to the rest of the characters. Cooper, he doesn't have much to do this week. He just basically directs traffic. So knock him out of the way. Brimley, he's back, hungry for some pastrami. And apparently, Red really wants to have lunch with him. That was kind of sweet. And
it was sweet.
Weird. For the record, the answer is yes, you can come to lunch. Also, an opossum has 12 nipples in a circle and a 13th in the middle of the circle. And now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
Yo, Joe.
I can't believe we now know the answer to that question. But we do, and that's good. Good for you. Go team.
Another thing I had to look up in an incognito web browser.
Yeah, I don't think that would, arouse too many problems, but definitely looking up child brides, it's going to come back to you at some point. You're probably going to have the FBI at your door. There's probably a sting going on right now outside your house.
Probably.
Wrestler, not a whole lot. I do like his line, I can guess what a woman's going to do, but why she does it, I got no clue. I like that because it's true. Has very little to do this episode, except that he does get in Aram's head, which I liked, but he also has an encounter, a very intense encounter with some wannabe heroes after he thwarts the bombing. And they quickly rethink getting in a tussle with the Russell. That part was pretty funny, where he's just looking at him, gets him a little shoulder, pushes by, and the guy lost a coat over it, you dumbass.
The fact that they were actually standing in the way, it's like, why are they trying to save the girl? It's like, Get out of the way, man. You just saw him come out of a bomb building.
Aram, well, now we're in this character's had some meat on him this week. He is able to identify that Red scooped up as witness. He didn't seem too upset about it. Am I wrong?
I don't know if he was upset per se, but it was, I want to say admirable was one thing. Like, he admired Red for being able to do it. But at the same time, he felt frustrated, I think, with Liz at the same time. Like, oh my gosh, why did he do this? He just didn't let it show. But I'm sure on the inside, he was kind of like, man, he snowed me. And maybe they'll have a conversation about it later, because Red and Aram haven't crossed paths a lot this season.
I don't know, man. You really think he looked? I didn't see admiration at all. I mean, I think he felt defeated, he felt beaten, and he felt disappointed. I didn't see anything where he admired Red, and I just honestly thought he would be angrier at him for it.
Well, that's why I think maybe that's why he wasn't as angry, was because maybe he was like, oh man, he snowed me. That's cool.
I didn't see that in his face, though. I just saw somebody who was really, really mad and then realized that nothing was going to happen, so he just kind of relented.
Could be.
Yeah, just let it go. I don't know. Anyway, there's a subplot here where Aram is giving Samar a ring from his grandma, and he's debating if she'll think it means marriage. Liz said he'll be able to tell. So could you tell which way it went? Or what's your opinion, I guess?
I would say, based on the way, and this is hard because as you kind of evaluate that scene, Aram sets it up from the beginning as saying, hey, my grandmother wanted you to have this. So he didn't even lead it with, hey, I found this ring, it's got your birthstone in it, I thought it'd be cool, here you go. I mean, he basically got out of the marriage conversation altogether by prefacing it with the grandma comment. So I don't know if Samar would ever be able to even read marriage into the situation because of the way he presented it. So because of that, I don't know if marriage was even on her mind, even though it's made to look like she's very nonchalant about it. Oh, it's nice, thanks, let's eat some food, food right in front of you. And he's obviously distraught about it because he's interpreting it as she clearly doesn't want to marry him, as you think about the scene. At least that's what I saw.
I didn't see a clear definition. I saw him defining his intentions, but I didn't see a clear definition either from her nor from, and I'm sure, they're probably, writers are probably, yeah, we clearly explained it. It didn't feel clear to me. It felt very, I don't know, it can go either way. My interpretation, she doesn't want to get married again. I think I got the interpretation she wants to be with him, but marriage isn't something she's really thinking about right now.
But Aram was sly in what he was like, oh, no, you don't have to order anything. I'm good. Everything I got is right here. So he kind of drops the nugget a little bit by kind of rebounding from starting off from the grandmother conversation. So kudos on him for that. She does give the smile at that point, so maybe she does know. She's just very good at hiding her emotions because, I mean, she's a badass Mossad agent.
Well, maybe. You got a couple of listener comments you wanted to mention about Aram before we move on.
Yeah, just performance in general, obviously. This is one of those episodes that felt like it was over in 5 minutes from Shannon. She wanted to know, did anyone else feel like Aram was kind of all over the map again? Seemed like even though he's a bit excitable and emotional as a character, he's got a pretty rock-solid moral center, right? So why would he totally wuss out at the end and say that his grandmother wanted Samar to have the ring? That seemed to be a bit too wishy-washy for Aram's character. What say you?
No, I think wrestler got in his head. So he just explained it because he's not ready for marriage and he doesn't want to put it out there and put her in a bad place. So I think he just explained it. That's all.
But it seemed as wrestler and Liz were kind of coaching him through this situation, it seemed kind of like he was wanting to get married. Or at least he wants the ability for her to say, yes, I want to be married.
I think he wants to know that she wants to marry him eventually. I think he's thinking marriage. He's thinking, well, whenever I am ready, whenever it's the right time, I want to know that she wants to be there with me because he does see it. I think he sees it. No big problem. No big deal there. Hell, if anything, his eyes were the ones that gave it away at the end.
True.
So maybe that's what we were supposed to get from it. Maybe it's actually you flip it because she's more the man in the relationship, according to stereotypes. I'm not, trying to imply anything. So she's kind of, it's his eyes that we're judging. We're like, I see. He gave her the ring, but now she knows for sure that he wants to marry her.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could see that. One of these things is right. I don't know what it is, but one of these things we're throwing around right. You have another comment, too.
I did. Vera responded to Shannon on the Facebook group and said, interesting. To me, it seemed like he was typical of Ram. After all, by his own measure, he has a terrible time with women he's loved, and Samar has been in his mind since he first commented, "You're tall." I loved it at the end, though, because after he witnessed Samar's reaction, he just kind of relaxed and said everything he needed was right there. I hope she caught that, but knowing how astute Samar is, I know she did.
Oh, yeah. She definitely... I mean, how could you miss it? There's people in the next apartment that caught that one. Like, my God, man, back up. Stop being a stage 5 clinger.
Yeah, don't be so needy.
Ian Garvey goes after Liz, ends up losing a ledger. That's really what happens for him.
It's interesting that they've been having him stick around. Like he shows up on these kind of standalone episodes, so it's clearly tying into the arc. I thought that maybe we wouldn't see him this week, but good to see him on the show. Because his days are obviously numbered.
And it led to Dembe. See, Dembe didn't have a whole lot. He just had a couple of things, but one of them we're going to go into. But I did like it. What was it? I consider this very therapeutic or somewhat therapeutic. That was a cool line.
Right.
That was fun. Liz is a bit on the serialized backseat this week, but she does have a tense encounter with Red where she puts up everything against him, and lets him know, hey, I know you stole Aram's witness, and she wants a straight answer, period. Now, do that with your own backstory. Get him into a corner and say, okay, now, we're not leaving until I get a straight answer. Who am I? Are you my mom? Are you my dad? Are you my uncle? Are you my former babysitter? What are you, Red? What are you? And don't let him leave until he answers.
But he won't answer. That's the problem.
I don't know, man. She's scared the piss out of me.
She scared the piss out of me when she grabbed the guy in the tracksuit and started driving away.
See, she's got some edge this season. I love it. But I really like that scene because, I think as fans, we definitely get frustrated when we know Liz knows that he's lying. And I like that she's in a place where she's not listening to that anymore. And he actually looked a little worried.
A little frightened, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about frightened, more of taken aback. Like, whoa, she brought this to my door.
She stepped up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is good. Good for her.
Did you like that scene? Because I know some people have, want her to be in this place. We talked about it earlier this season, I think. Earlier this season, where wouldn't it be cool if by the end of the season, Red is legitimately frightened of Liz?
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think the scene worked out perfectly for two things. One, it avoided the complete flip-floppiness that we typically would see from this relationship at this point in time. So I think that was great. She was assertive and took control. And two, it continues with what we've always said about the writers, is that whenever they introduce something, the answer is always paid off in the next episode. So it's not like they held over this witness for the next 2 to 3 episodes waiting for something to happen. They just, boom, they answered it right away. Yep, I took them. I understand you're upset. Sorry about that, but it's for your own good.
Almost. They almost always do. I mean, there's still this duffel bag of bones walking around. So
that's a big answer, though.
Obviously, very important. Those things better be like Legos, and they put together some fascinating Dagobah system or something. I don't know. All right. Her overzealous search for the witness is what puts her in Garvey's crosshairs, so that's kind of her own fault. And that's really all that Liz does this week. She's really, like I said, a backseat character this week. But Red is apparently never dealing with consequences for his duplicity. I mean, he stole a witness. He put lives in jeopardy. Cooper's like, it's all good. What? I mean, I get that he's important and all that jive, but this seems like something where we should be having a conversation if I'm Cooper.
Well, maybe at this point, Cooper was just so busy he didn't have time to have the sit down with Red like they normally do in his office. So it seemed like Red's in a pretty nice place, this mansion or whatever he's held up right now. I mean, that place was a lot cooler than the kind of flat that was all modern and contemporary that he was in a couple weeks ago with his personal chef Paris. So, I mean, maybe this was a situation where he just couldn't get to Cooper's office to have the convo. So maybe later, maybe next week they have a convo about it.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. But my question is, at some point, doesn't he have to, as the boss, say, that's too far? Isn't that the line? There should be the line where you put your own agents in jeopardy.
Well, he said that to him before a few times. Like, hey, Red, this is too far.
Right,
hey, Red, you can't do this.
There should be a line at some point. Like a line, like you cross this line, you die. You cross this line, you die. Okay, now you cross this line again. You almost ruined Aram's career. You could have gotten him killed. And we like Aram. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, at the same time, though, I think Cooper's at the point like, doesn't surprise me. Of course. Whatever. Carry on. Because it's happened so many times.
At some point, the information you're working with someone you can never, ever trust is being completely honest with you. At some point, is it still worth it to trade every aspect of your integrity?
Yeah, because the people that are taken off the streets are just even worse than Red is. So, yeah, I mean, at some point you have to say, what's the greater good? That's always been the struggle they've had for all 5 seasons.
I don't know. This one, I don't know, man. You put my team in jeopardy. I have a problem with you. I just have a big problem. Okay. Well, he originally believes an alt-right group is behind this, leading him to Coogan Hudnut, a leader of a sect, and while looking for him, Red shoots up the place. Now, some were upset with this depiction of the alt-right. Do you understand why, Troy?
Yes. And this is where you get in trouble, because you can't really talk about this stuff and not trip over your own words. So I'm going to say that I think that what happened here was the scene was set up in such a way that I don't think was needed. So I clearly got that we are in front of a place where, people of color are not allowed, right? This comment, right? This has to stay outside. That was enough to tell me exactly what we needed from this scene to understand what kind of situation we were in, right? And I think it was handled greatly, too, by Hisham and James as they acted out their responses. So with that, I'm good. So where I think people got all bothered with this was that what we see in the next scene and the Confederate flag and the cross and some other set decorations, I think it painted a stereotypical feel of what the alt-right is. And it could have just been any old bar, right? Any old bar, sports stuff on the wall, maybe some celebrity pictures that were signed, bunch of white dudes packing heat, and the scene would have played out exactly the same way, and we would have gotten the point. So I think the set decoration, I feel, is what people were the most peeved about, because it was just unnecessary and almost stereotypical in a way, personally. What about you?
Man, I'll be honest, it didn't really bother me that much. I just thought it was TV, but I get that it bothers other people. Racism is bad. I get it. Is it shoot them up and stretch their skin torture kind of bad? I don't think that was really, to me, I got it more because of how the guy was talking to Dembe. I think if the guy just would have been, a random racist, I don't really think Red would have cared as much. But, he's just like, hey, you're a douchebag, whatever. But the fact that he said that to Dembe, I think was really what put him over the edge. That was a little too far. You insulted someone he loves. So to me, it was more of a Red thing than it was a alt-right specific thing, I guess. And, associating the alt-right with Christianity, I don't want to get into all that because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that dilemma is.
Well, we'll take some comments from the fans later on what kind of their positions were, and I think that'll help clarify the situation. I think personally, that the panning of the room and kind of setting the stage, I think that was not necessary to set up the scene specifically. Just the comment the guy makes at the door sets up the scene perfectly. Good enough. Okay, this is white boys only club. Understand, I'm good, move on, and go from there. So, yeah, some people, I think, took offense with some of the set decoration on the inside is what I was kind of gathering.
Yeah, that's what I got, too. All right, well, Red pays a visit to Reva in the hospital and gets her to fess up pretty easy. This kid has, no future in espionage, by the way.
That's why she hired somebody to kill her husband instead of doing it herself.
Well, right, but could we get hey, guys, can you leave me with this guy alone? I got to talk to him a little bit. Can I get some privacy? Can I just have a minute? Whatever. And, Red's like, hey, I know some stuff. She's like, whoa, all right, well, here's a skinny.
She really was, if she was a good espionage person, she would have just taken those headphones that she had, and as he turns around to go to his meeting, she takes the headphones, strangles them around his neck, and kills him right there on the spot.
Wow, that went dark. That escalated very quickly, Ron Burgundy. So the one thing I wondered, it didn't feel like Red was extremely sympathetic to her cause.
Well, at this point, to Reva's cause, no. She's like, hey,
why not?
Because you killed my friend. Like, I had a business relationship with this guy. You messed up my plans. My plans are in jeopardy. I don't care about you right now. I care about my plans. So he may be sympathetic to Anna, potentially, down the road, if they were to ever cross paths. But specifically because she's the one that put the hit out on this guy who he needed information from, that pisses Red off in this moment. So, no, I wouldn't probably be interested in her plight at that time.
I don't know. Red's shown sympathy or empathy toward other people in similar predicaments, even when they were going against him. It just felt like that would have been a good moment to see his empathy to a degree, I guess. But hey, you know what? Still a cool moment. Unfortunately, that kid can't hold information to save her life.
Nope.
And then there's of course, when they have that scuffle, I forgot to talk about what the quote was Red had with Liz. When Liz is attacking him and saying, you betrayed me, whatever. I betrayed no one, least of all you. I told you I was going to get that duffel bag. If Garvey goes on trial, that would be impossible. So until I have that bag, I will do what I must to prevent that from happening.
Exactly right. Because
so he's kind of being honest.
Getting that duffel bag actually, in his mind, is better for Liz in the long run. Because it keeps the secret that she's not supposed to know. Because if she knows, and obviously moral danger and all that other stuff that they've been talking about for 5 seasons.
Yeah, I still think it's more about Red than it is Liz in this respect. Yeah, I'm sure he's protecting her in his own, shady way, but I bet you it's still more about protecting Red. But now we come to the character that really she was part of the central focus, which is this creepy ass story. Samar. She has a pretty powerful story this week, and this is where we'll elaborate on the topic of the episode this week. She tells the story of her cousin and how at the age of 15, she was promised to marry a stranger, and then one day that cousin was just gone. She says, and I quote, I didn't have a chance to help her. Please give me the chance to help you. This isn't where your story should end. Very, very, I thought, powerful scene on that rooftop with Anna-Gracia. Now, that brings me to, obviously, the story with Samar was something we knew that there was something there because you could tell how emotional she was throughout the episode, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she was very insubordinate to Cooper in a lot of ways, which if there was only one drawback of the episode to me was that there wasn't more, I guess, anger or spite or back and forth between the two of them. Like maybe
Why?
It just seemed like she was at a point where she was really emotionally all broken up about it. And Cooper said, well, we're all about murder, and that's what we're going to investigate is the murder part. He kind of blew off her feelings in a way. I feel like Cooper in past seasons would have been more, direct about that. Like, hey, listen, this is what we're all about. This is what we're doing. Like, I understand. Put your personal feelings aside. He would have had a more stern conversation in past seasons, and I didn't see that in this episode. So I think that'd be my one kind of nitpick. If there was anything, like there should have been, they built up that drama to be something, and then there just wasn't any explosion coming out of it.
Well, I really think Cooper's kind of all over this season, honestly. I mean, on the page, it's nothing with Harry's performance. Just the character he's written has been a little all over the, maybe he's just like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. Whatevs. I feel like that's where he's at this point. He's just like, whatever. I don't even care anymore. Nothing I say matters to any of you. Piss off.
Red runs the place anyway. Liz does what she wants to do. I'll just drink in my office. It's all good.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen when they brought it to him and said, hey, Red actually stole the witness for Cooper. Go, that's awesome. Or something along those lines. Just because I feel like that would be more genuine at this point. Anyway. So we get that story, and then we find out that this is one more thing on the character moment. She works out a deal for Anna-Gracia where even though she's killed 10 people, she'll be out by the time she's 21 because the district attorney is going to charge her as a minor. I don't know how I feel about that because she still killed 10 people. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of legal marriages in there. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's not, but legally, I don't know. That feels like, but I got what the point was. And I really felt like that was a very powerful moment, saying this is the first time we're actually going to treat you like you are a child. I thought that was very
And did we
powerful.
ever get like how old she was? I mean, obviously she was still under 18 in order to get
13.
the juvenile case.
She was 13 when she got married. She was 17 when they arrested her.
17. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, she's still going to lose 4 years of her life under supervision. So it's not like she got off scot-free for these 10 murders. So there is 4 years of supervision and paperwork and annoyances and all of that stuff, but at least she just doesn't go to like an adult jail.
Yeah, and I'm sure she'll come out just fine.
Sure.
Yeah, she'll be La Femme Nikita. All right, so this episode, now we're finally here. We're at the meat. This is a prominent theme about child brides, and I believe most of us feel, it doesn't happen here. In America, this doesn't happen here. I'm watching the episode going, well, I mean, this is gross and creepy, but it's just our Blacklist thing. They're just making some stuff up. And there's a scene we talked about briefly earlier. I'm still shocked was on TV, honestly, with a grown-ass man climbing into bed with a child and kissing her on the mouths with the lips.
And it lingered. It was like a peck. It was like a linger.
It was all in there, checking her dental plan. I didn't like it.
First time ever in 5 seasons I had to watch the Blacklist through my fingers. I was like, no.
Yeah, I'm still going to Jimmy Fallon it up. Like, ew. It turns out this really is an issue. So this time Blacklist nailed a real problem. What did you dig up, Troy?
All right. So the minimum age for marriage across most of the United States is 18, but every state has exemptions, such as parental consent or pregnancy, which allow younger children to tie the knot. Ugh. I think most people assume when they think about this child bride situation, it's like, oh, okay, it was my high school prom and it's a 17-year-old marrying an 18-year-old or something like that. Like, it's like, no, there's like legitimately like many years older than these kids. Actually, in May of 2017, Governor Chris Christie of Jersey declined to sign into law a measure that would have actually made him the first state in the union to officially ban all child marriages in all cases. However, Christie claimed it would actually conflict with religious customs, and the exceptions continued, which basically allows the under 18 practice to continue. So,
what?
Yes. So basically, you can't get married you can't get a marriage license if you're under the age of 18, unless pregnancy, parents say it's okay, other situations. So basically, there's so many exceptions in every single state that basically the 18 law is basically useless.
So you can't buy cigarettes until you're 18 or 21 in most states.
You can't vote until you're 18.
Can't vote until you're 18. Can't drink until you're 21 in most states or 18. But you can
get married at 12.
Well, is 12 really allowable?
Well, let me continue.
Oh my God! Don't make me ew.
So between the in the U.S. between the years 2000 and 2015, 207,468 minors were married in the U.S.
No.
Yes. So the number they mentioned on the show is factually true. The true figure actually might be higher because 10 states actually provide no or incomplete statistics or information on the topic. So take that for what it's worth. Now, 87% of the minors who were married across the country between 2000 and 2015 were girls. That obviously makes the other 13% young males, with the majority either around 16 or 17 years of age. Now, the youngest wedded were 3 10-year-old girls in Tennessee who married men aged 24, 25, and 31 back in 2001.
Oh, my God. If you're listening to this show and you're that person, shame on you, older person. Wrong. Bad.
Now, the youngest groom, the boy, was 11-year-old who married a 27-year-old woman in the same state of Tennessee in 2006.
The sad part is this is where most of the guys listening go, "What's up, playa?" And that's not the right way to look at it, guys.
No.
It's really not.
No.
It's really not.
Because I have a son, too.
Yeah. It's wrong in both cases all the time.
Now, children as young as 12 were granted marriage licenses in Alaska, Louisiana, and South Carolina, while 11 other states allowed 13-year-olds to wed.
Oh, my God.
Now, despite these alarming numbers and despite the documented consequences of early marriage, state lawmakers have resisted passing legislation to end child marriage because they wrongly fear that such measures might unlawfully stifle religious freedom, or because they cling to the notion that marriage is the best solution for a teen pregnancy, much in the case of Governor Christie. Now, in this way, U.S. lawmakers are strongly at odds with U.S. foreign policy. The U.S. Global Strategy to Empower Adolescent Girls, released last year by the State Department, lists reducing child marriages, early and both forced marriage, as a key goal of their mission. So the State Department pointed to the developing world, where 1 in 3 girls is married by age 18 and 1 in 9 is married by 15. So while the numbers at home are nowhere near that dire as they are abroad, they're still pretty alarming. Many of the children married between 2000 and 2010 were wed to adults significantly older than they were. At least 31% were married to a spouse aged 21 or older. Some children were married at an age or with a spousal age difference that constitutes actual statutory rape under that state's laws. I was like flabbergasted when I heard this, because in Idaho, someone 18 or older who has sex with a child under 16 can be charged with a felony and imprisoned for up to 25 years. Yet, data from Idaho, which had the highest rate of child marriage of the states that provided data in the study, shows that some 55 girls were under the age of 16 when they were married to men 18 or older between 2000 and 2010. So literally 55 men, statutory rape, but because they're married, it's okay.
Y'all need Jesus.
Oh, my goodness.
I just went Medea on you.
So women who marry at 18 or younger also face a 23% higher risk of heart attack, diabetes, cancer, and stroke than do women who marry between the ages of 19 and 25, partly because early marriage obviously can lead to some added stress and forfeited education. Women who wed before 18 also are at increased risk of developing various psychiatric disorders. So that's a lot of information. So basically, in summary, to get a marriage license, you do have to be 18. However, all of the exceptions for religion, pregnancy, parental consent, etc. are what allows the children to be wed. And what's worse, they can't get out of the marriages because the courts can't even serve them because they are still minors. So the parents, who are most likely the ones that got them into the mess in the first place, have to actually represent them in the courts to get out of the marriage on behalf of the minor because they're not 18.
So let me ask you, now with all of that, would you have known any of that if this episode wouldn't have aired?
Zero. I mean, literally, absolutely not. Unless I was in a situation or someone had mentioned it to me, but I didn't know that all of this was going on. Like, literally, we have a legal system that says, here's some laws, but these laws don't apply. oh, and by the way, if you actually want to enact the actual law, you can't act the actual law because you're not old enough to have that law applied to you. I mean, I was like flabbergasted. Just
it's very
sickened and flabbergasted.
It's very uncomfortable. I think as a society, not everybody's a good parent, not everybody's a good kid, not everybody's a good person, you know what I mean? But I think society should, not that this is a forum for it, it's a Blacklist podcast, but my God, if society's supposed to protect children when parents won't do it, you know what I mean? And that's what laws should be there for. That's just, So here's my big question for you. You ready, Troy?
I'm ready.
The big question for me is we have talked a lot about this season about there's a lot of agenda issues going on with the Blacklist this particular season. Way more so than any, or at least more obvious, more prevalent.
More in your face.
Yeah, definitely more in your face. And we've had issue with it. That's been a problem where it's like, okay, we get it, kind of, dial it back a little bit here and there. It hasn't made the series less enjoyable, but it has made moments in the show this year where we're like, okay, that's too much. I mean, now I don't want politics and all that, I don't want personal views thrown in my face. This is an entertainment show, ultimately. But on the same token, every once in a while something will come through that needed enlightenment, and this is probably one of those situations where now I know something I didn't know. I actually learned something because of this. Is it worth it? It's kind of like when, you keep throwing darts at the board and one finally hits, but it's an important dart. Is it worth it? Or was it worth it?
Well, I think there's a difference, right? There's a difference between rip from the headline news kind of stuff, like when we were talking about the dirty cops or the cops shooting the African-American kid in Cooper's episode. I think that stuff is a little bit too close to home, or even the alt-right conversation in this episode. I think that stuff is too in the news in your face that people want to escape from when they get their entertainment, contrasted with something like Child Brides or The Golden Blood or things of that nature where, man, that's like, I never knew that it existed, so I have to go look that up and understand more, and it causes me to learn more about the topic and be informed. I think that's the stuff that entertainment should do, is bring stuff to light that might not be in the normal everyday. So if I wanted the everyday, I go to see the news. I want the not everyday stuff. So kudos for bringing up this topic. I mean, I think it was really well done, except for the one kissing scene.
I think that was great. I still think that was great. Yeah, that's what I would say. I would say it's still, the issues we had problems with, still have problems with them. Still think, those were a little too in your face. And honestly, too many other shows are doing that. This is something that I haven't seen done anywhere. I didn't even know it was the thing, which makes it a great cause to have to profile it, because it's actually bringing awareness to something that we weren't already having awareness on, on a 24/7 news cycle, this never gets covered. I don't know how something like this would never get coverage, because I have zero, and I watch the news a lot. I have zero knowledge of this. So I felt like I was enlightened to some degree. And, I'm all for topical episodes as long as it's something like done this way.
Well, I think there was like a Frontline or something episode with a lady who actually runs an organization. So usually with one of these types of episodes, you'd see like the PSA announcement at the end, which I was kind of waiting for. And I did not see one, although I did not also watch all the way through the trailer for next week. So maybe it was at the end of that. But at the same time, I did find that there is this place, right? One group trying to do something to get people out of these unions, or at least provide support if they can't get out of the union, or if they get out of the union and still need counseling. And it's called Unchained at Last. That's CHANAINED, chained, unchainedatlast.org. Now, we have no affiliation with them, nor are we asking you guys to sponsor or support them in any way because of this episode. We're only providing you the information that if you do want to read more about this topic, like I did, obviously, today, they have some great information and some great research. Again, that's unchainedatlast.org, unchainedatlast.org. And we'll put the link in the show notes over for Anna-Gracia Duerte at theblacklistexposed.com.
Well, lastly, I really felt they handled a tough topic, both respectfully and entertainingly. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed the episode. I was riveted the whole time. I was like, oh my gosh, she killed her dad. Oh my gosh, he was really molesting her. Wait a minute, it's not her dad? It's her husband? What? So yeah, I was completely enthralled all the way through the episode for sure.
I thought it was a molesting thing too, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like these.
Well,
I have a daughter, so
even when the kissing dad came up and he was like, "Yeah, I'll be up in a minute to tuck you in," and I'm like, "Oh no, they're gonna do like the whole pedophile thing, and I can't even handle that." And then you're like, "Wait a minute, it's a queen bed. They're laying down together. What? Yeah, yeah.
Legal pedophilia. That's even worse.
It's even
so
worse.
It was one of those things where I'm like, well, it can't get any worse than it got worse.
And now we are super more educated because of it. So
absolutely
good on the blacklist.
I learned a lot, and I am sickened by a lot. That's how it turned out. Man, we've only got a few episodes left. What is this, like 17?
Yeah, 5 to go.
5 to go. All right. Well, we'll be right back with Red's Rhetoric right after this.
What if you could live your life without limits, where every desire you ever imagined could be fulfilled? Experience Westworld, a show where every human's dark side will be revealed. After watching each episode, listen to Beyond Westworld, a podcast featuring humans and hosts from around the park, diving deep into HBO's illustrative narrative. Every hero has a code, and so do you. Download your itinerary and the show at BeyondWestworldPodcast.com or your podcast app of choice.
Hey, this is Amir. I play Aram on The Blacklist, and you are listening to The Blacklist Exposed.
Welcome to Red's Rhetoric, that part of the show where we play 2 scenes from this week's episode of The Blacklist, and then you get to vote, which is your favorite, over on our poll on the website at theblacklistexposed.com. Just look for the post for Anna-Gracia Duerte. Well, steak is apparently on the menu this week, as Red Dismember came away with 77% of the vote last time. This week's first clip comes when Red is cooking up a plan in the kitchen.
I hope you have indigestion.
No, but if it makes you feel better, I'm in a bad mood.
Excellent.
He's making fenugreek porridge. My ancestors learned that it can cure a troubled stomach and soothe aches and pains.
Medicinal South Sudanese cuisine.
Cooking it up in their embassy's kitchen. Aren't you living large?
Thanks to Dembe, his cousin was recently named foreign minister.
Of a country without an extradition treaty. How convenient.
I'm not here hiding from American law enforcement. I could dodge those raindrops and never get wet. I'm here because of Garvey, and you should be too, for your protection and to cure what ails you.
Garvey is what ails me. He took our witness out from under Aram. I'm trying to retrace how it happened, but if there's anything you can do.
Did you bring the file?
Will you help or not?
I'm trying to.
Our second comes when Red seeks forgiveness.
I owe you an apology.
You were watching me in Boston.
I suggested you take refuge here. You chose not to, so yes, I was watching you in Boston.
I don't accept your apology for taking our witness.
I'm not apologizing for that. I'm apologizing for telling Garvey that I would kill him if he ever came after you.
Why would you apologize for that?
Think like a criminal, Lizzie.
Because by threatening him, you told him how important I am to you.
Yes.
By telling him not to come after me, you guaranteed he would.
I don't expect you to accept my apology. Not until this ends. When it does, maybe.
I don't know if this is your fault or not. But I do know I'm only here because of you.
Which was your favorite? If you have an ailment you want cured, vote #RedPorridge. Or if you like Red and Liz on the same page, vote #RedSorry.
Okay, now we go to Special Agent Intel. Let's see what you all thought this week with Special Agent Intel. The views were split this week, as Twitter said both. That was quite enough to hold me till next week at Kika Williams, countered by Adrenal Nate, what?
1NEA7. I just spell it out when it's a Twitter handle.
Okay, that guy who said literally the exact same dragging. I mean, it's decent, but only because of the Red and Liz moments. Wow. That is polar opposite. Okay, so let's tackle the elephant in the room first. Shannon Hayslip. I don't know any skinheads or any real alt-righters, but I know Gadsden has been used for a lot longer than the alt-right movement has been around, and it used to mean different things. I also think most Christians would find the alt-right offensive, and using a cross inside their little bar might sting more than a little. It altogether felt a bit broad and heavy-handed to me. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I didn't even know that was a problem. I come from a Christian family, and if somebody says all right, if they have a cross, I don't assume my family is connected to that. So to me, that doesn't bother me. It's just a TV thing. And also we have Rob Eno, who says, I hope Aaron and Troy bring this up with the Johns. There are many conservatives like myself who love the Blacklist. These are conflicting ideologies. This episode was over the top. I stopped watching 6 or 7 minutes in and won't watch it. If they keep this up, this superfan may just stop watching. Tell the story without trying to equate your fans with vile, disgusting people.
Okay, so, I mean, I can understand Rob's point on the child bride angle. I mean, it was hard to watch. I mean, it was. And some people will, sit through it and understand it and figure it out like we all did. And then there's other people in the fandom that'll be like, nope, I can't do it. I mean, there's a lot of people that said they had to watch that one scene through their fingers. I mean, it was just too much. So I totally can respect Rob's point of view based on where he's coming from.
I think Rob's point of view, if I remember right, was because of the cross and the alt-right, that they had a cross in their bar or something.
Oh, because that was within the first 6 or 7 minutes, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty early. Okay. Well, even on that regard too, what I find interesting is that where you get the conversations happening on Facebook, social media, et cetera, or even in the news, right? People put labels on things they don't even fully understand what those labels mean, right? So for my own actual reading and understanding that I went through today, I mean, the alt-right isn't technically conservatives. And I think that's what Rob's point is that they're kind of lumping conservatives and alt-right together. And in fact, that's what the alt stands for in that term, alt-right. It's alternative conservatism. So really, if you think about it, the alt-right is actually more a left group in its thinking, one with a fundamental difference, obviously, right? Both the left and the alt-right do believe in what is best for the entire group or the whole, but the alt-right believes that group is the white Europeans only, where the left focuses on the non-white or underprivileged class in their supportive techniques, where the conservatives themselves actually believe in individualism. So they focus on the pioneer spirit, the entrepreneurism, basically the good old American dream that if you work hard, you will succeed. So I think people, when they see the cross, they end up getting lumped in as, oh, the conservatives are all alt-right people. And I don't think that's fair to the conservative side of the house. And I think that's where Rob is going there. And it's funny because the alt-right actually, in their kind of manifesto, is actually anti-religion. So the cross showing up, I thought, was a bit odd in the scene. And all that being said, it's really how you interpret the scene as a whole is based on your own personal bias. Now, the bias is actually meant basically what you understand, what you're raised with, what you're influenced by, how you're shaped, what you're growing up. You kind of form a bias in your mind about how the world looks, and that's how we kind of view things sometimes. But what we really need to do is take a step back and take the time to understand all the points of view and make sure that we're informed before we comment one way or the other, not painting it with a broad brush, which I think in this scene, when they said it, when they staged it, and they put the things in the scene that they did to visually present the scene, it was kind of like that. It was kind of a broad brush, and they didn't really take a step back to go, does this make sense, or could I tell this scene differently? So, and I just want to go on the record as I explain all this from my own learnings and understandings today that I am a conservative, liberal, optimistic independent. Those are two terms that you can find on Wikipedia for the definitions. And I figured that out today only because of all the Facebook data that they collected on me, told me so in the advertising area.
I'm Aaron. That's all I am. I'm just Aaron. I don't need all the Facebook telling me all the other stuff. I mean, I'm sorry so many people get bothered by that. Like I said, I mean, I come from a very my grandfather and my uncles are all preachers. Trust me, I'm not one that belongs there, but I respect them wholly for what they choose to believe, and I didn't see any offense to it. But if you do, I'm sorry. I just really felt like it was just a TV setup. Somebody missed the cross thing, or I don't know. I really didn't think it was a big deal. Well, and my personal opinion, I did not think it was a big deal.
And I think that's the case, right? I think I can respect like where Rob is coming from. I can respect where Shannon's coming from. I can respect where you're coming from, right? It's all different opinions based on how we view what we're being shown. Do I think that maybe the entertainment people that are staging the scene and putting it out in front of people have a little bit more responsibility to make sure what they're putting out there into the public has a little bit more scrutiny, a little bit more eyeballs on it? Maybe a little bit. Like I said, I think the scene worked just fine just with the confrontation at the front door. And it could have just been any other bar.
The only thing I will, and it's not a fair comparison by any means, but Hollywood is very liberal.
Sure.
So there probably would be more scrutiny on showcasing a gay group or a transgender group than there would be on an alt-right group. There's probably truth to that. But it's also, that's how entertainment is. You've got a, predominantly liberal group working on something. You're probably going to get that. But I just didn't think it was, I really didn't think it was any other representation than I've seen on 1,000 other TV shows of racist, neo-Nazi fascists. It looked the same to me, and the cross didn't bother me. I didn't take it personally. I just took it as a TV show. I think maybe sometimes, in this current entertainment era that we're in, I feel like everybody, and I mean everybody, I'm including everyone, being all inclusive, everybody seems to get offended by something. So there's no perfect scenario for anything.
It's literally like everybody needs to go back and watch PCU with Jeremy Piven.
You can't, because Piven's on the no list now.
I know.
You can't win. Everybody's offended by something. So, man, I'm just glad we're over that, because we don't need that. This is the Blacklist. We're here for entertainment. So there you go. Hopefully the next show will just be entertainment. I think primarily that's all it is. So moving on.
Linda Hood Cheney said, okay, mommy gators, fenugreek is an herb that actually helps lactating women when they are having difficulties producing enough milk. Just put that one was not me. That was all Linda.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right. Lay off Udis. I said that horribly wrong, and I apologize, and Troy will slap me later.
We'll just go with Lee.
There you go. I said Lee. Wants to know, how do all the bad guys always have each other's phone numbers? Is there some kind of burner yellow pages? They always have everyone's number. Astounding. This is the first episode in 5 seasons that I had to watch through my fingers. I was either dry heaving at the gross husbands of the child brides making moves, or getting the cringes, or what my husband and I call the douche chills, watching Aram not understand the significance of a ring. Okay, Samara was totes cool with that, but she knows, and he knows, and she knows he doesn't know. It's very Sam and Diane. Don't get me wrong, it was very sweet, and I love Saram, but it was still a bit rough to watch. This particular episode feels more in line with the kink preferred by the sex lies and videotape to secretary era Spader. That's not a bad thing. I love watching him really enjoy the acting he's doing. I was just shocked. 8 p.m., my fat ass. I'm also really glad to see that all the writers can still shock the hell out of us. I don't think anyone saw this one coming.
And if you did, I'd love to know who you are, because I was shocked. And Aaron and I are pretty astute watchers of the show.
I would call you a fibber if you knew that this is where it was going, and if you didn't have any spoilers beforehand.
Like, you had to have the script in your hand in order to know this was coming. Holy cow. All right, Vera Cooper's back. I liked how this app connected with the pilot. Then Lizzie Penn read in the neck. Here, she pinned him against the wall. I think he suffered a lot less with the second pin than with the first pen, but he was no nonchalant during both. It was almost like he expected it. Like I'm cool with this. This is your temper tantrum. Okay, I'll let you roll with it in both scenarios. So good call out from Vera.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Douglas Bumgarner. I finally have an issue with the continuity at the end of the episode. Love the episode, by the way. The blood on the ledger was too bright red and wet. It should have been darker and drier by the time we see it in Red's custody, in my honest opinion.
I think, yes, agree with Douglas, right? It should have been more of a brownish color, potentially. But obviously in the scene and what it's up against, and in order for us to all know that the ledger was sitting on the table, I think you had to do the blood on there and make it bright enough for it to stand out, so we noticed it was the actual ledger, just because of the lighting in the room and whatever. So I give him a pass.
Okay. I mean, it looked like blood. This is along the lines with the cross for me. Yeah, it looked like blood. It's fine. It's a TV thing.
All right. Robin Day Durham. When the device was found on the FBI vehicle, I thought Samar looked pretty worried. Did anybody else think that maybe she placed it in there for Red? Because Ram said, hey, I found this guy walking outside, but never got camera footage of him inside, and you would think that they would have camera footage inside the motor pool too. So possible.
That's interesting.
Remember, she was put on the task force by Red back in season 2, lest we forget.
All right, Monica Stolfa. Okay, I need some eye bleach after the bedroom scene with the girl and that scumbag. I wish Rustler would have missed saving that son of a bitch when the bomb went off. A good show for Samar, helping that poor girl. I liked her, albeit brief backstory. Was it me or did Aram seem disappointed over Samar's reaction to the ring? It's good to see... that's a good question. I think we covered that one.
We did.
It's good to see Brimley back and making neo-Nazis 3 inches taller. Yes, possums have 13 nipples. Yeah, Troy found that out, yeah. Liz should by now learn to recognize Red's methodology when it comes to solving problems. He succeeds because he is 5 steps ahead of everyone. That takes planning and patience. She needs to not show Red her hand and play along for now in order to find the truth.
That's true, because she is showing her cards. So by her showing how she feels, it basically lets Red read her as an open book as well. She needs to be a little bit more coy with what she turns over.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Wendy Davies said it was an interesting episode in so much that I had learned a few things, such as that it's still legal in over half the U.S. to be married to a child. Sad face. Rape by a husband is legal in a marriage, and Samar was on point in her quest to save little Anna-Gracia. I think
I want to touch on that because it's a criminal law major. Sorry. There are some states where that is true. Many states it is not. So that really... check your local legislators. It's a sad thing, but there are some states where that is true.
This PSA brought to you by Aaron.
Sorry.
No, it's good. I think it probably helped that the subject matter, abuse of women, is very dear to Mojan herself. A rather uncomfortable episode to watch at times. I'm glad they got to write that Anna got off lightly in legal terms, serve some time, and still go on to have a life.
Nate Trigilio's. Whoa, dude. Someone packed on the nitro because the episode broke the speed limit across several states. We got another Blacklister with a cause, and boy, was she a doozy. There's a lot going on in this episode between Red's plan, Liz's obsession, Aram, and the Blacklister. This episode hit on all cylinders. I have to say that I don't know why Liz can't trust Red after all they've been through. Say, what, Nate? I've also... Sorry. You stopped me. I was cruising along, and then I got there, and I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes. I'm also floored that Red won't share more details to help alleviate Liz's concerns. The daddy-daughter issues keep rising. Either way, Evil Glenn is a goner. In spite of everything else, this week's Blacklister and her motivation blew me away. It was tragic, but at the same time, completely understandable. I'm glad that Samara was able to help her in some way. This episode was spectacular. Can't wait for next week.
Yeah, next week we will have an episode and then another week off before we come back again.
What?
Yeah, they have to space it out because they only have 5 left, so they need to get 2 into May.
What? So does that mean we don't get the Westworld week off, so do we?
The week before Westworld we get off.
Sons of bitches, NBC, cooperate. All right, there is one more that came in. Kelly Hudson said, I don't know if it's too late, but would be interested in Aaron's take on this. See, somebody missed me, Troy. Not you. I would be interested in Aaron's take on this app, given his familiarity with psychology. Should there have been a trigger warning on this one, or would that be a bit much? I assume she means in the episode, like a PSA or something, beforehand. This episode contains, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. I think it's the Blacklist. I think they shock you in different ways each week. And this one probably made you take notice a little bit. So, no, I didn't think a PSA was needed. But I do think there are some people that will probably be very disturbed by it because of personal situations. I think you always have to be conscious of that in respect to that. But I also it brought light to a very serious issue, and that's always a good thing. And you need to have those kind of guttural reactions to really spark people to invest in the knowledge that in the knowledge of the issue. So by doing that, it makes people sit up and take awareness because they don't think it's going to happen that way. And then when it happens that way, it makes them pay attention. I've seen so many people actually talking about this issue now, all because of the Blacklist episode. And that's what you want with situations like this. So, no, I mean, maybe, if it wasn't the Blacklist, if it was Fuller House or something, definitely. This very special episode of Fuller House. But I think Blacklist is fine.
Yeah, because, it's catering to a specific audience that should already be prepped before they sit down to watch the show in the first place, right?
Well,
it's already TV-14, and it's already, violent. And
throw people in acid, melt them in acid. Yeah, I think this is okay. It's disturbing, but it's also, I think it was done, Troy and I disagree on this. I think it was done the way that it should be, enough to make you as uncomfortable as you should be, and without going too far. Like, we didn't see a sexual act or something like that. But I went far enough to say, hey, take notice. This is how uncomfortable we should feel. And I thought it was done tastefully. Troy doesn't agree.
I was uncomfortable when he said, I'll see you upstairs. I'm like, ew.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for this episode. I do want to, is it all right if I do a quick plug here real quick?
Sure, go right ahead.
I've been gone. I was gone for a couple weeks because I was at South by Southwest. And I was at it's a film festival. South by Southwest is a film festival. Saw a ton of movies there. Went to the Westworld experience. If you're a Westworld fan, I had an interview with the man who designed the Batmobiles for the Batman movies. And all of this stuff is part of my podcast, The Hollywood Outsider. We did a South by Southwest complete isolated episode. So it's specifically just those movies. And one of those movies was Jinn, which also starred Hisham Tawfiq, so from the Blacklist, Dembe. And you can listen to the full episode. You can go to thehollywoodoutsiders.com and listen to that South by Southwest episode, or look in your podcast app for The Hollywood Outsider, whatever. Find that one and you can listen to it. You can hear reviews of all the movies. But I also want to say, find that movie whenever it comes to a theater near you. It's still playing in festivals. Jinn, Jinn. It's a great movie. Absolutely great. He's great in it. The message, it's about I don't want to give too much away. It's about a young girl whose mother converts she becomes a Muslim.
Right.
And the daughter is struggling with should she, as she, is coming into her own independence and sexuality and things like that. And it's done very respectfully, very tastefully. You learn more about the Muslim religion than you probably had any idea about. And it's not done in an angry way in any way, shape, or form. It's very honest and sweet and heartfelt, and it's a very beautiful story, and he's great in it. So if you're a fan of Dembe, you might want to check that out. It's Jinn, Jinn, and also check out that episode because we put a lot of work into that one.
And I believe, if I remember right, it was your best of the festival winner.
That was my favorite of the festival. Yes, it absolutely was. And actually, I felt like I was on the street when Hisham came out, and I was actually going to go talk because we've met him before. And I was going to go talk to him, but they were like all in this big celebration and kind of, their movie was a hit. They just premiered it and they were all excited. I just couldn't. I just tweeted him instead. And he said, you should have came up and said something. I'm like, yeah, but it was really cool to see how excited they were because everybody in the audience loved that movie. And he was just, everybody in the film was glowing. So it was great.
Cool. All right, that's thehollywoodoutsiders.com.
Yes, sir. Well, that's going to conclude this episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at The Blacklist GSM, where we live tweet during the East Coast feed, and we use the show's hashtag The Blacklist.
Don't forget to follow us on Tumblr, Instagram, and join the Facebook group as well. Just search for The Blacklist Exposed. Talk about the show, the podcast, or your favorite way to beat indigestion.
You can also subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or your favorite podcast player of choice. You can even listen from the website. But if you're really on the go, make sure you download our app for iOS and Android powered by Spreaker. You'll find all the intel and analysis about this episode for Anna-Gracia with Duerte by visiting theblacklistexposed.com. Big thanks for listening. Don't forget to answer our profiling question. Did Samar's eyes say yes or no?
I don't know. But we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. And I'm going to go rewatch that and pretend that she's looking at me.
Ciao. Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinritz. That's at Troy Heinritz on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinritz.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsiders.com or on Twitter at 5popcorn. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.